lot of time performing and perfecting sex and my sex skills. But it's a whole new experience with a giant box of vibrators and a lot of time actually discovering my body for myself. So it's quite a novelty and I quite like it.
So can you talk a little bit about how you feel right now?
Now I'm a little bit nervous with you guys sitting there.
Why nervous?
Because I know you're going to ask me some tricky questions. But that's all right, I like a tricky question. Give them to me, give me the tricky questions.
So can you talk about what your style says about you?
I've always been a shopaholic. I was buying cheap fast fashion and I probably bought at least 2 or 3 things, brand new things every week. It was always about being on trend. I was predictions, what's coming, you know, what have I got? And then when I hit 41, I bought a ridiculously expensive pair of shoes I completely couldn't afford. I was working for social services, working with families in crisis, and these shoes were so expensive. They were more than one of this family's probably food budget for an entire year. And I just woke up in the middle of the night and said, no, that's it, I'm not gonna shop for a year. So that year, I had to make do with what I already had, and I found I had more fun conversations about the different ways that I'd styled it, or, well, that's interesting, or, wow, okay, if you can do that and mix a pattern together. And so my style really evolved over that year. Not only had I found like a whole new style, I had this weird feeling, and what it was confidence. And I was 41 and it was the first time I can put my finger on being confident. What I learned was if I put my mind to it, I can do absolutely motherfucking anything I choose.
Can you talk about assumptions that people have about you based on your appearance?
I think people assume when you're loud and you have an outgoing personality, you can't have your feelings hurt. That's not true. I think that's one thing I really try to do with Instagram is just be as real as I can. Maybe about 2.5 years ago was the first time I think I ever posted my naked ass and I got a dick pic. I was like, what the fuck? I've never had a dick pic. Literally dropped the phone, forwarded it to all my mates. I think it makes me the worst feminist in the world, but it was the first time in a long time I was like, I've still got it. And it opened my mind to the possibility that I might actually be able to feel horny again, because it'd been a really long time since that had happened. Here we go again, we're going back to men sending you unsolicited dick pics at the drop of a hat, and that's what's gonna make you feel good about yourself. But it did a bit. And so that dick pic then led on to me posting about said dick pic, which then led on to a vibrator brand getting in touch with me and asking me if I wanted to be an ambassador for a vibrator brand. I was like, so do I become a vibrator advocate? My father was like, oh, Louisa, no. Oh no. My son was like, oh my God, no, Mom, how embarrassing. And my husband was like, really? All the men in my life think this is a bad idea and all the women are like, go for it, do it. So I said yes. And they sent me the most hugest box of vibrators I've ever seen in all my 4 days. And so I set about testing them. I had a woman come and rent some clothes from me. We were halfway through trying on some outfits and she spun around and she said to me, I've got to confess I've never masturbated. And I was like, have a seat. Why did you invent coming to rent clothes just so we could talk about masturbating? And she said, that's how hard it is for women to talk about it.
What are the reactions, judgments, assumptions from other moms? They're friends of your kids. Yeah.
I mean, I got fired from the PTA because I let the mums drink wine at the school disco. This was in Britain, it wasn't in America. And then I got to Portland, got a job doing track and field and coaching middle school track and field. Got fired from that for getting my arse out on the internet. I'm like, I am literally on the internet promoting body confidence and coaching teenage girls, and you're gonna fire me because what is my arse is a danger? My middle-aged arse is offensive to you in Portland public schools? Or I show the teenage women that they can be a badass middle-aged woman, there's nothing to be afraid of, and it's all about strength. I got fired. Going back to assumptions, I've always shied away from people thinking I was overtly sexual. And now I'm like, yeah, I am overtly sexual, it's a good thing. But it's taken me 40 odd years, I think, to really figure out my relationship with sex.
So can you talk a little bit about menopause and like what the biggest struggle or transformation that has like kind of come with menopause?
Okay, so here's my theory around the menopause. Women are programmed for change. So even just starting your period. Our bodies change every month. Our tits grow, they shrink. Our hips start to widen so we can give birth. Our whole body changes so we can accommodate somebody else. So we have a child or we don't have a child. Lots of us have had damage to our bodies because we gave birth. Then we have to adapt our careers, our sleeping pattern. I mean, every single tiny part of our fabric of being changes to accommodate our children. When we get to 50, the kids are starting to leave home. And to me, that's like, yes, it's another chapter. So bring it fucking on. Whereas men flatline through life. They don't change very easily. They don't have to.
How has that been in your story?
I was lucky enough to move to America from Britain, 7 years ago. I was listed as a dependent for my husband's job. He was in a particularly successful time in his career. People were falling all over themselves, welcoming us to Portland. They were, oh, your guy's wife. And it was really quite peculiar because I'd never experienced just being one half of someone. I never saw myself as that, but I think because I'd come listed as a dependent, I wasn't able to work when we first got here. People at home, so what are you going to do when you get there? I'm like, I don't know, I can't work, it's going to be awful. And then after about a month of not working, I settled into doing fuck all quite nicely. Discovered I quite liked it. So I was gifted this year and a half of being able to just reinvent myself again. So I met some amazing women and I didn't have a job. So I was like, do you want to go hiking? And once a week, we'd jump in the car, we'd dump the kids at school, climb up a mountain, moan about the kids, bitch about the husbands, drink a can of wine, and come back again in time for the school run. Genius. Almost from the day we stepped foot in America for this new adventure together, he went off following his career, and I took off on the trails of Oregon with a bunch of badass women who just held me up and showed me a different kind of support and friendship that I'd never had the space to be able to maybe experience or enjoy before. We started to just really go off on different paths. You know, he really struggled with American corporate culture. And so while I was finding my people and my confidence and trying new things, he was really struggling. We were neglectful of each other, and that just started to push us further away. I found my voice in my own marriage, I think. I think I found it too late. Middle life has been quite a shocker, because as my confidence has grown, I've lost my marriage. It's me that's changed, not him, but that's terribly confusing for him. And I want you to be able to give it to me, but it's not about you. This is about me and what I need to do for me now, which sounds incredibly selfish because I'm a wife and a mum, and I comes quite far down in the list of where you fall in importance. But I think if I'd valued myself more earlier and I'd put myself a bit higher up that list, maybe it would have been better for everybody. I've had a boyfriend since I was 11. I have overlapped every boy. I've slept with the next one before I dumped the one before. Sorry to every boyfriend I've ever had. There you go, that's the truth. I cheat to protect myself. And I only really realised that that's what I've done. As we lost each other on our marriage, we shut down with all levels of intimacy. I moved into the spare room, which was incredibly difficult because we didn't actually have a spare bed. Neither of us want to admit that it's over. I didn't want to buy the bed. I don't want to be sitting here talking about my marriage ending. But it's also a confusing feeling because I feel really empowered by leaving my husband.
Was that a very scary place for you to be in? To feel so empowered and know this is so right and there's no turning back, but you're actually going to walk away?
How about was his dad, even the man that I've committed half my life to, had my son with, going through all of this, and the more steps I take, the better I feel. And it feels great, which is awful. So even now I'm getting to where I need to be, it still hurts and feels selfish. For a little while last year, I'd have to every morning I'd stand by the door handle and count to 10. Here we go. I mean, there's a reason the menopause is called the change, right? It's the ultimate change, it's the best change. Well, society's conditioned us to fear change, right? We all fear change.
Creating shame around menopause has been a patriarchal way of making the change not happen.
It gets called what? The midlife crisis.
Right.
And I think Men named it the midlife crisis because they look around them and they're like, we just want to sit down and watch telly and go to a car show. Women are like, let's go change. Men call it a crisis because all the women are getting stronger and not putting up with the shit anymore. But I've got hornier with the menopause. That's also coincided with separating and going into a separate bedroom and becoming a vibrator advocate. It actually is work because every time a woman buys a vibrator, I make $20. Which is genius. Every time a woman wanks, I make money. I'm like the entrepreneur of the year. I just won an award for that. I like to call myself a professional wanker.
How has it been for you, like, reconnecting with your sexuality, sensuality in the last couple of years?
Well, having spent my entire life with a man, I spent a lot of time performing and perfecting sex and my sex skills. But it's a whole new experience with a giant box of vibrators and a lot of time actually discovering my body for myself. And for the very first time, it being about me. So it's quite a novelty. And I quite like it.
What was your sex life like with your husband?
Like a married sex life where people don't make much effort with each other. I mean, I think before I met him, I'd never had to make an effort. And I never really wanked before that much, because if I wanted to, if I felt horny, I'd just go and get laid. I always had quite a strange relationship with sex, I suppose.
Why strange?
I think it's much like the clothes. It's a good talking point, or it was a way to make people like me. I'm nervous about dating now. I mean, I've been with my husband half my life. I don't even know how to date. I mean, I've never even really dated. I've just like overlapped them all.
But you're not cheating on him to protect yourself. You're not protecting yourself anymore.
No, protecting myself with my vibrators now. It's the new angle. It's all about me. I just feel like if I had put myself first earlier and valued myself, the sum might be different.
Can you do your glasses?
This is my worst layer.
When do you feel the most vulnerable?
I feel pretty vulnerable talking about the separation. That's kind of crazy. I think because I haven't done it before, it makes it very real. Oh, hey, good. Here, I'm gonna go cry again. I put my glasses back on. Damn it, why can't we have it all? Fuck. Wouldn't that be great?
What's your favorite part of your body?
I'd be buggered without my legs. I love them, walking wise. And I love my ass. Hate my tits. Hate my tits.
Why?
They're just so long. I would like my boobs done, but I mean, I am what I am at this point. It seems a bit late in the day for it all. Women, like the average age for women starting Botox is sort of like 21. It's like sex. If you don't masturbate and know what you like, it's like Botox. If you haven't got a wrinkle, how do you know you don't like it? You might like it. But if you have Botox at 21, you're not giving yourself a chance to be yourself at all.
Necklaces?
Oh, Zero Fucks Club. Well, it's not really a club. Well, it is. It's an imaginary club, I suppose. And that is one of the best things about menopause. You just kind of give less of them.
Last question. Why in your body, in your skin, in your journey? Why is it a good place to be?
Because things just got better. Now I found my voice, now I found where I want to be, and now I found the work I want to do. I found a place where I'm more open to possibility. I've got so much change coming, and I just refuse to be scared by the change. Feels good. Life feels good at the moment.
How do you feel now?
Better, thank you.
Thank you to our partner Bonafide for standing with us in our pursuit to destigmatize menopause and defy ageism taboos.
When I was going through menopause about 10 years ago, I felt very overwhelmed with having nowhere to turn in terms of understanding what was happening to me, how to deal with the symptoms. And I really wish that there was a company like Bonafide making organic and natural products that would have helped me in so many ways that I didn't have at that time. All Bonafide products are scientifically validated and recommended by over 8,000 doctors across the country.
And they offer hormone-free relief from menopausal symptoms like hot flashes, night sweats, and vaginal dryness. Save up to $30 a month when you bundle 2 or more of your favorite Bonafide products together and opt for a bundle subscription.
Bonafide wants you to find relief from menopausal symptoms so that you don't have to suffer through it like so many people have.
If you're interested in a naturally derived but effective solution to menopause, try 20% off your first subscription with code StyleLikeU today.
Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of What's Underneath with Lou.
Thank you for watching. For more videos like this, subscribe to StyleLikeU.
And don't forget to click the bell so that you're reminded of when we drop a new episode on Thursdays.